When we think of royal power, we picture crowns, castles, and armies, but behind the gilded doors of palaces, a silent, invisible war was constantly being waged. This wasn't fought with swords, but with whispers, secrets, and expertly placed agents. Our history books often focus on the male rulers and generals, but a surprising truth emerges. Some of the most masterful spy masters in history were women. Queens who navigated treacherous courts and international intrigue with a cunning born of necessity. Take Elizabeth I of England. Faced with constant plots and foreign threats, she didn't just rely on her navy. She cultivated a vast intelligence network, personally overseeing its operations and turning courtiers into her eyes and ears. Her spy master, Sir Francis Walsingham, was a master manipulator, but the ultimate authority and strategist was Elizabeth herself. She understood that information was power, and control over that information was paramount to her survival. These queens weren't just figureheads, they were active participants in a dangerous game of deception. They used their positions to gather intel on foreign powers, identify internal dissent, and preemptively strike against threats. Consider Catherine the Great of Russia. Her reign was marked by expansion and political maneuvering, all facilitated by a highly organized spy service that gathered intelligence across Europe and within her own vast empire. Her agents operated under the guise of merchants, diplomats, and even courtesans. They infiltrated rival courts, deciphered enemy plans, and reported back to the Empress, who processed this information with ruthless efficiency. The risks were immense. Discovery meant torture, execution, or at the very least, utter ruin. Yet, these women consistently pushed the boundaries of espionage, employing innovative methods to stay ahead of their enemies. They utilized cryptography, secret inks, and dead drops, techniques we might associate with modern spycraft, but which were pioneered centuries ago by these ambitious queens and their clandestine operatives. Personal lives of these queens were also fertile ground for intelligence gathering. Their social circles, their perceived weaknesses, even their romantic entanglements, could be exploited by rivals or leveraged by their own spies. These queens understood the psychology of their targets, using charm, manipulation, and carefully cultivated relationships to extract crucial information that could sway political alliances and military campaigns. The Venetian Republic, a city built on trade and intrigue, was a hotbed of espionage, and its doges relied heavily on a sophisticated network of informants, many of whom were women operating in the shadows of its bustling canals. Even figures like Marie Antoinette, often portrayed as frivolous, was involved in a complex web of court intrigue where information, whether true or false, was a weapon. The ability to gather reliable intelligence was often the difference between a secure reign and deposition, between national prosperity and foreign domination. Queens who excelled at this art secured their legacies. They were not merely pawns in a man's world, but strategic masterminds who employed every tool at their disposal, including the subtle power of espionage, to maintain control and advance their ambitions. The networks they built were intricate, relying on loyalty, bribery, coercion, and sometimes sheer patriotism from agents who risked everything for their queen and country. These were not passive rulers, they were active agents in their own destiny, meticulously weaving a tapestry of information that protected their crowns and expanded their influence. The myth of the weak female ruler was a tool they themselves often manipulated, using it to lull rivals into a false sense of security while their spies gathered critical intel. When threatened by plots, like the Babington plot against Elizabeth I, it was the intelligence network, meticulously managed by the Queen, that unraveled the conspiracy before it could succeed. The ultimate success of these queens often hinged on their ability to master the unseen world of espionage, a talent rarely acknowledged in traditional historical narratives. From securing succession to undermining foreign rivals, the discreet operations orchestrated from royal chambers had a profound impact on the geopolitical landscape of their eras. These women faced unique challenges, being scrutinized not just for their political acumen but for their very right to rule. Espionage became a vital shield and sword in their arsenal. The legacy of these royal spy masters reminds us that power is not always overt. It often resides in the shadows, in the carefully gathered whisper, the intercepted message, and the strategic deployment of information. They navigated a world where trust was a rare commodity, and betrayal was a constant threat. Their success was a testament to their intelligence, courage, and mastery of a deadly, invisible art. The history of queens and espionage reveals a timeless truth. The most effective rulers are often those who understand that the greatest battles are not always fought on the battlefield, but in the minds and secrets of others.
Text. Petra's story is one of adaptation, wealth, artistry, and eventual decline, a cyclical narrative echoed throughout human history. Yet, its enduring beauty ensures its legend will never truly fade. Text. The Maya civilization, with its peaks of brilliance and its enigmatic decline, invites us to ponder the cyclical nature of history and the enduring power of human adaptation. Text: their legacy is not just in the stones they left behind, but in the living cultures that continue their traditions, carrying forward a story that has spanned millennia.